Libra, April brings a kind of momentum into your life that's harder to balance than usual. You're someone who naturally weighs things out. You look for harmony. You try to make decisions that feel fair for everyone involved. But this month, that approach starts to reach its limits. There's a strong Aries influence right now, bringing direct, fast-moving energy that doesn't leave much room for compromise. And that stands in contrast to your natural instinct. Instead of keeping things open, you're being pushed to make decisions. You'll notice this in everyday situations. People are more direct. Conversations are clearer, and situations start asking for a definite response from you. It becomes harder to keep everyone happy, and that creates tension, especially if you're still trying to balance everything like before. But this is your key theme for April. You can't always mediate. Sometimes you have to choose. In love, this becomes very clear. If you're in a relationship, you'll start noticing where things aren't being said, where expectations don't fully match. Things that used to stay balanced begin to shift. Conversations become more direct, sometimes even confrontational, and you realize you can't keep holding back. Just to maintain harmony, this can bring you closer, if both of you are willing to be honest. But it can also reveal where you've been adjusting without truly being aligned. The important shift is this: you stop minimizing your own position. If you're single, your approach changes too. You're less focused on what could work, and more on what actually feels right. At the same time, interactions become more direct. People show up more clearly, conversations move faster. But that's exactly why you shouldn't rush. Not every connection needs to be defined right away. In your work life, April becomes more concrete. Decisions come up that you can't keep postponing. This could be about direction, collaboration, or your role. And those decisions require clarity, which isn't always easy for you, because you see multiple sides. But this is where your growth happens. You don't have to consider everything at once. You're allowed to choose. Financially, you may notice imbalances more clearly, where you're giving more than you're receiving, or where something no longer fits your situation. And that leads you to reassess, to reorganize, to make more conscious decisions. A central theme this month is balance itself. You're used to creating it, but now you're learning that balance. Doesn't always mean keeping everything equal. Sometimes it means making a clear decision. Emotionally, things shift too. You react faster. You recognize more clearly what works for you and what doesn't. And you're less willing to adjust when something doesn't feel right. That's new, and it changes your relationships. Around the middle of the month, everything intensifies. Situations become clearer, conversations deeper, and you may feel like you need to take a stand. This is where it's important not to overthink. You don't need the perfect balance. You just need to be honest. Another key theme is expectations. You notice more quickly when you're adjusting yourself, just to avoid conflict, and you're less willing to keep doing that. That can create tension, especially if people are used to you being accommodating. But this is where your clarity grows. You start standing in your own position more, not loudly, but clearly. Your approach to decisions changes too. You're used to taking your time, but now you see that overthinking can hold you back. You're learning to decide, even when everything isn't fully resolved. It may feel unfamiliar, but it moves you forward. Your view of relationships shifts as well. You recognize more quickly which connections feel balanced and which don't. And that may lead you to adjust things, not drastically, but intentionally. Your relationship with time becomes clearer. You become more aware of where your energy goes. Things that throw you off balance stand out more. So you begin to prioritize, and that brings stability. Your approach to conflict changes too. You don't avoid it automatically anymore. You choose more consciously when something is worth addressing and when it's not. That saves energy and creates clarity. You also begin to let go of control in a different way. You realize you can't balance everything, and that it's not your job too. That alone can feel relieving, and it gives you more space. As the month goes on, you'll notice a quiet shift. You respond differently, you decide differently, and you use your energy more intentionally. These changes aren't dramatic, but they're real. Toward the end of the month, things settle, not around you, but within you. You feel clearer, more grounded in what works for you. and what doesn't. Another important shift happens in how you relate to clarity in your interactions. You start noticing more quickly when words and actions don't match. Before, you might have tried to smooth that over. Now, it stands out. You pay attention not just to what is said, but how it's said. Where someone avoids something, where there's real openness, that makes you more aware and more decisive. You're less willing to carry uncertainty just to keep the peace. This shows up in everyday moments, in conversations with people close to you, in agreements that used to be casual, or in situations where you've known the truth for a while, but haven't said it out loud yet. Now that begins to change. Your relationship with closeness evolves too. You're no longer interested in surface-level harmony. You want something real, something stable, something honest. That may lead to conversations that were long overdue, not dramatic, just clear. Another shift happens around compromise. You're still willing to meet others halfway, but now you see more clearly when a compromise is fair and when you're losing yourself in it. That distinction changes everything. You don't give less, you give more consciously. And because of that, by the end of the month, a new kind of stability forms. Not because everything is suddenly easy, but because you've become clearer about what truly works for you. Libra, this month isn't challenging you because you've lost your balance. It's challenging you because you're learning. That balance doesn't always mean pleasing everyone. Sometimes it means standing in your truth. And that's where your growth is. If this resonates with you and you want more insights like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel.